Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of The World of Programming. Well, in today's session, we're going to discuss a very important concept which is again used across multiple programming languages, and that is the concept of an array. All languages, be it Java, C++, JavaScript, or Python, use arrays. Yes, in some languages, arrays are dynamic in nature, which means that when you are running the program or when you're executing the program, you can add or remove elements from the array. For example, in Python, arrays are known as lists, but the concept remains the same. In other languages like Java or C++, arrays are static in nature, which means that once created, they cannot be modified, which means you cannot add or remove elements from the array once they have been created. So today, first let's understand as to what do you mean by an array. Generally, when we create a variable in any programming language, in the memory of the computer, there is a storage area which gets allocated, and the name of the storage area is the name of the variable. Inside the storage area, you have the value that you're putting inside the variable. Now, this memory location is chosen randomly. Wherever a free space of the desired size is obtained, the variable would be created. But when you're creating an array, the system will search for a memory space which can accommodate the entire group of values together. So array in very simple words means a group of values of the same type. Now this is very important, that all the values in the group should be of the same type. For example, if you are creating an array which is maybe storing the salary of employees or the marks of the student, then the entire group should have the same values. You cannot create an array in which one value would be the salary, the other value would be the employee name. That is not an array. So very important, they have to be of the same type. Now in an array, the group of values would be stored in contiguous memory locations. What do we mean by contiguous memory locations? It means that if I am creating a group of size 10, an array of size 10, which is supposed to be holding whole numbers or integers, then the total memory block which will be assigned would be the block required to store 10 integers. One integer occupies 4 bytes of memory. Here we have to create a group size of 10 integers. So in total, you would need 40 bytes of memory to be allocated. Now if the first value, let's say, is stored at memory location 2000, the next value will be stored at 2004 because every integer is occupying 4 bytes of memory. The value after that will be placed at location 2008. So the word over here is not continuous but contiguous, where we are leaving equal amount of memory spaces before storing the next value. And the memory space that we are leaving out is equivalent to the size of that data type. Now once the memory has been allocated, we have to give a name to the entire group, the same way that we give a name to the variable. So let's say if I call my array as ARR, so ARR represents that entire group of values. As you can see in the slide, this is an array of size 5. Now the array is storing 5 integers. As I told before, each integer occupies 4 bytes of memory. So the total memory size allocated over here is 20 bytes. 5 times 4. Also, every value which is stored in the array has a position number associated with it. Like how when we have a group of people who are standing in the queue, we call them out by the first person, the second person, the third person in the queue. In the same way, you can imagine that this is a queue of numbers placed one after the other. So even here, every number is associated with a position number. But unlike the real world where the positions always begin from 1, here the positions begin from 0. So whenever we want to call out any value from this group, we always use the group name. For example, if this array is called as ARR, so we will use the group name ARR, and in the square brackets, we will mention the position number. So if I want to obtain the first value from the group, I would say ARR, which is the name of the group, and in square brackets, the position number, that is 0. Since it is the first value, the position number will not be 1, it would be 0. Now, this calling out by using the group name and the position number, if you want to understand, you can relate it to an example where, suppose you are referring to a group of students who are studying in a particular grade. So again, that is a group. Let's say grade 9 is a group of students who are studying in grade 9. Now, if the teacher wants to call a student from this grade and she doesn't know the name of that student, she will refer to the student maybe by the student ID. So she may make a call saying grade 9, that's the group name, student ID 5. So grade 9 is the name of the group, and in that group, the ID of the student or the position of the student is number 5. The same way here, ARR would be the name of the group and 0 would be the position of the element which we want to access. As I explained earlier, that in most programming languages, arrays are static in nature. So when you create an array at the beginning, either you can create an empty array, but though the array is empty, there are no values inside it, but still we need to mention its size. Or else you may create an array already filled with values. Different languages have different syntax for creating an empty or a filled array. But again, if you want to understand the concept or the difference between the two things, creating an empty array would be like buying an office space for 10 employees because you plan to hire 10 employees, though right now you don't have any employee on board with you. You already purchase an office of 10 people which can accommodate 10 people. In future, the maximum number of employees that you can hire is 10. Even if you hire only 5 employees, the rest of the space for the remaining 5 people cannot be done away with. That will always remain, though it may be vacant. At the same time, if you want to accommodate more people, even that will not be possible because your size is limited. So here you have created a space thinking about a particular set of values, though right now the spaces are all blank. You have not filled it up with any values. On the other hand, creating an array with values would mean that buying an office space which will accommodate the current number of employees whom you have already recruited. So you are buying the space equivalent to the number of employees that you have. Right now, suppose if you have 5 employees on board, so then you are buying a space which will accommodate only those 5 employees. In certain languages which are dynamic in nature, where arrays can be increased or decreased at runtime, let's say if new employees get added on, you can always increase the storage space, or if some employees leave the organization, then those spaces can be left out. So this is how I have tried to explain the concept of arrays using some real life examples. As far as using them in programming is concerned, as I said, there are different syntaxes used in different languages. If you have any other concept, difficulties, or any other queries related to arrays, you can get in touch with me and I would be more than happy to help. Thank you.